Welcome to the 2022 NBA Draft Get to Know You, brought to you by Getty Images. I'm your host, Chris Miles. The NBA's 2021 rookie class was arguably as strong as any rookie class in recent memory. First-year standouts Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, and Rookie of the Year Scotty Barnes showed not only do they belong in the world's best basketball league, but also that the NBA's future is bright. Over the next 60 minutes, we'll take a deep dive into 10 of the expected lottery picks in the 2022 NBA Draft to see if they can live up to the standards of the preceding rookie class. Our very own Smitty in 3D, as well as NCAA expert Andy Katz, spent time with these future pros to find out what their personalities are like and how their game translates to the NBA and what current players they compare themselves to. We begin with Auburn freshman sensation Jabari Smith Jr., who is expected to hear his name called within the top 3 picks this year. The 6'10 forward is a force to be reckoned with and has all the intangibles become a star at the next level. Smitty caught up with Jabari at one of his workouts to see how he's preparing for the draft.
What's up, y'all? This is Steve Smith. Today I'm hanging with one of the top draft prospects, Jabari Smith Jr.
Jabari, left wing three. Got it! What a pass, what a play. On the right side, 18-footer, goes!
There's just not a lot of 6'10 guys with that good a stroke.
About to watch one of his workouts to see how he's preparing for the draft.
What's up, young fella? How you doing?
Good.
Good. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Go get dressed.
I got you. All right.
Dropping the right, going to your jab shot. There we go. Good. Good pace. Great feet. That's 2. Yeah, like that.
When I think about Jabari Smith, I think versatility on both ends of the court. He can guard 1 through 5, a guy that can take over offensively, but can be a disruptor defensively because of his size, his length, and his ability to slide his feet with small guards.
What you guys are doing is phenomenal. Then the next step is we're going to go here, see what you got, see if you're ready. You ready?
Ready.
Your guys put you to a big-time workout. They were trying to make you uncomfortable, but I never saw you get rattled. Where does that come from?
It's coming from working out with my dad since I was 5. Him working me out the way he was when I was that age. It was like, why are you doing this to me? But it's just preparing me for this moment now. I'm still trying to amp it up and get to that next level.
Up to Smith, running to the cup for a roundhouse right-hand reverse.
Smith is going to put up the 3, and he puts it in.
The cutter, Smith.
Now, having a dad that played in the NBA, not a lot of people have that advantage. How much have he helped you with your game?
He's helped me so much. He's been through everything I'm going through right now. He can tell me what he's been through and just, give me tips along the way.
Everybody talks about your work ethic, and it's just been legendary. The one thing I got a chance to talk about your dad, he said he didn't really push you. You wanted to get out there and get up at 5:30.
Yeah. When I was younger, I had to, go in the driveway, of course, so wake up before school with my brother, get some shots up.
Come on, 3 anyway. Good, that's 1. Let's go.
I just fell in love with it so quickly. And it wasn't even the fact that I was waking up early. It was like I'm ready to get up, like ready to go work out with Big Bro and my dad. It was just fun, you know what I mean? And then when I got older, the fun never went away.
Snap it up. There we go. Snap it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, in out.
Just working and staying with it, I could feel myself getting better and I could really see where I could go with the game. And that's when I really started pushing myself, trying to be a pro at a young age.
There is hot, and then there's Jabari Smith hot tonight. If you want to know why Jabari Smith is going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA, just watch his game. It is silky smooth.
What impresses me most about his game, he can flat out shoot the basketball. He's locked in. He has picture-perfect form. His body, his make, his skill set is a perfect match for the NBA in today's game. I ain't gonna let you get no big here, but I'm gonna give you some compliments. I saw you shoot the basketball. I don't know the exact number, but it was like 45 out of 50 from 3. I was impressed.
Like when I feel like I find my rhythm and find that wrist and just really lock in and really zero in, I feel like I can shoot with the best of them. So, it's just me being mature enough to not get away from my mechanics. When I start making a few, it's easy to just get away from it, but it's just when you really zero in and lock in, that's when I feel like I'm shooting the best.
That's what you do. That's what you do. Good shot. We dropping the right, Jay. Good curl. There we go.
You know, everybody wants to compare everybody. Who did Jabari look up to and love to pattern his game back when he was growing up?
It definitely wasn't one player. You know, LeBron was definitely the person who I used to look at and just be like, wow, he can do everything.
LeBron James, throw it down.
Shoot, pass, dribble, you know, just control the game.
Here is Antetokounmpo with a throwdown.
Giannis, Bam has been a favorite for me as of late. You know, even Anthony Davis, like how he mixes it up. I try not to choose one player. I try to steal something from everybody.
I think Jabari Smith has a bright future in the NBA. I think he has a chance to be a multiple All-Star, to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he has a chance to be one of the best players in the league. Draft day is coming. Fashion. You ready? You got your suit ready?
Yeah, I got something to play. I got something in mind.
Tell me how you envision that day.
Hopefully I'm the first name called, you know what I mean? But it's gonna be a dream come true. You know, having my family with me, it's gonna be one of the greatest days of my life.
When I say Jabari Smith, the #1 pick, what comes to mind for you?
Just all the names that have been #1 picks that we've seen, like LeBron and Tim Duncan and, you know, all of those great players who've been #1 picks. It's like a lot of pressure, but pressure is something I've been dealing with since I was ranked top 5 in the country, since I was ranked #1 in college. Like, all of that is just something you go through with being one of the best. So, you know, I accept the pressure.
What does Jabari Smith Jr. bring to the table that we're all gonna get a chance to watch?
That competitive edge. I don't care about stats. I don't care about the numbers that's next to my name. I care about that W or the L. You know, everybody can say I can shoot, score, defend, all of that, but at the end of the day, I want to win. So that's what I'm bringing. That's just me.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Rook. Still a rookie.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Appreciate it.
It was nice hanging out with Jabari Smith Jr. today. After watching his workout, I can't wait to see his career unfold at the next level.
Absolutely. Next up, standing at 7 foot and just 194 pounds, there are questions surrounding Chet Holmgren's body build, but not many that challenge his skill set. The uber-talented and versatile one-and-done player out of Gonzaga talked to Andy Katz at the NBA Draft Combine in Chicago and seems more than confident that defense will be his calling card in the NBA.
We had a great year with a great group of guys. You know, we put everything we had into it. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't make Final Four, didn't win a national championship. But, you know, I wouldn't go back and change a thing or, you know, make a different decision on anything. You know, overall, it was great. You know, I loved my experience there. You know, a lot of lessons that I learned from it. And like you said, we were the #1 team for the majority of the season. And, you know, I feel like we lived up to that. Countless lessons on the court. You know, about basketball, you know, just playing at that level. You know, different things I learned from coach, from different players on my team that, you know, have been through it, seen it, you know, and then lessons just from experience. You know, I came in, never played a college basketball game, you know, didn't have that experience under my belt. And, you know, after playing, you know, 36 of them, you know, there were a lot of lessons, you know, that I learned from, you know, playing 40 minutes 36 times. I'd say I hate losing more than I love winning. So defense is, you know, no matter what you do on offense, you're going to spend half the game on defense. So you got to take pride in it. And you got to, you know, really hold your own on that end of the court, because there's no point in scoring 30 if you give up 35 points. So, you know, I've always taken pride in my defense. And, you know, I know that defense is winning plays. And a lot of times defense, like you said, you know, it feeds my offense. So, you know, I take it serious, and, you know, I try to go out every game and, you know, make an impact on that end of the floor.
How imposing are you on the defensive side?
You're going to have to ask the guys that I play against, but a lot of people I talk to or don't talk to, you know, I see a lot of people, you know, don't even try to lay the ball up on me. So take with that what you will. I don't think that there's anybody that can do what I do and do all the things that I do at the level I do it.
And what is it that you do that no one can do?
Everything. Everything. Whatever's asked of me to win basketball games, and at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, winning. You know, I've been a winner my whole life. You know, everything I've done is to try and be a better winner in the game of basketball. And, you know, unfortunately, like you said, we weren't able to come out with the national championship this year, but I think I have a great winning record, and my game speaks for that. I wouldn't compare myself to, a single player. I'm trying to be the first me. I'm trying to be myself and kind of blaze a path for myself. But, as a basketball junkie, I definitely take a lot of things from different players. I love to watch KD. I love to watch Giannis, even retired guys like Dirk. I've been watching a lot of playoffs, watching Luka. Different guys that have size as well as skill, and they kind of use that combination to get whatever they want out of the game. And those are the guys that I watch. I watch a lot more, and whatever I see in somebody's game that I feel like I can add to mine and help myself out with it, I try to do that. So it's it's like a hash of players, but I wouldn't say it's just one person.
Coming up next, Coach K's final team is expected to have multiple players taken in the first round. Paolo Banchero and Mark Williams are two of those names. We'll hear from them next. According to most mock drafts, Paolo Banchero will likely be drafted no lower than third. Andy Katz sat down with Banchero to discuss, among other things, how to pronounce his name, comparisons to former Blue Devil and NBA All-Star Jason Tatum, and his lone season in Durham, which coincided with Coach K's swan song.
Yeah, I think my 1 year at Duke was everything, that I hoped it would be, leading Duke to a Final Four, after coming off a rough year the year before that, sending Coach K out. We wanted to send him out, obviously, on top, but to get him back on that stage, at the last week in the college basketball was the goal, getting to New Orleans. So to get there, for me and the team was big. Unfortunately, it came up short, but, I was happy to be there.
What was great about you this year was even if you were in foul trouble or struggled, you always knew there was a point late in the game that if the game was on the line, needed a big shot, if they got you the ball, you were ready to take it.
The coaches, my teammates always having my back and always reminded me, that no matter how good of a game or how bad of a game I was having, they wanted me to take that shot or make that play. They were comfortable with it, and they all trusted me. So knowing that, it just made me, fearless and, kind of just let me go out there and be me. And, those big moments, I love those moments. So being able to make those plays down the stretch is always, what I'm trying to do.
It's not just because it's Duke, but I see Jason Tatum. I see a lot of similarities, not just because of Duke, but the way you play, the way you carry yourself. What do you see?
Yeah, no, I talk to Jason a lot. It's a guy who I've definitely watched a lot of. I can see the similarities for sure, but I feel like I'm unique in my own way. I definitely take some stuff from his game for sure. Just the pace he plays with on offense, the way he carries himself, on and off the court, being a young guy, but, kind of coming up in the league as a rising star. I kind of admire that about him. But, just the way he's been since college and now, he's just gotten better every single year. And that's kind of how I see myself developing.
You're not afraid to go inside, muscle it in there. Obviously, you're exceptional on the perimeter. What is it about banging inside at times, posting up, that you will seek those kind of shots?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's my bread and butter. Obviously, like you said, I can play on the perimeter, but when in doubt, I'm trying to get to the basket, trying to draw fouls, get to that rim. And that's how it's always been for me. My mom was a post player, so that was some of the first stuff I was learning was how to, get positioned in the post and finish around the rim.
What's a fair criticism of what you need to work on?
I would say a fair criticism really would be my defensive consistency, off the ball especially, just staying engaged, I definitely didn't feel like I was a liability or anything, but there was times where I could let fatigue get to me or be a little disengaged on that end of the floor. But that's probably the biggest thing I've really tried to focus on and work on is, using that, exerting that same energy that I do on offense and bring that to the other end of the floor.
So I've been doing this a long time. I don't think there's any way to mimic what you, especially at Duke, experience playing at Cameron, because this year was packed, the pressure of that, especially the Duke-Carolina game when all the alums were there. Final Four, 70,000 fans. How do you think all of those experiences have prepared you to play in the NBA?
I think it's prepared me more than, anything. I knew going to Duke that I was going to be on the biggest stages in the biggest games. And I was. I mean, from the jump, playing at Madison Square Garden, my first ever college game, Duke versus Kentucky. You got to show up and the lights is brightest. And I mean, to me, that's fun. I don't really look at it as pressure. Like, I was walking in those arenas smiling, having fun, ready to play. So heading into the NBA, it's going to be a lot more big moments, a lot more big games. So, it's going to be the same mentality for me.
Hey, you said your name for us at the beginning, but people always butcher it. What's the worst you've heard?
I mean, you hear a lot. I mean, Pablo is very common. Even though there's no B in my name, I think they just, default to that. Paolo, a lot of different mispronunciations, but...
What about on the last name?
Yeah, I mean, Banchero is probably the most common because of the CH, but yeah, I mean, hopefully as I keep, elevating, the pronunciation to become more clear.
Well, Banchero's teammate Mark Williams is among a long list of lottery hopefuls. Williams is also on a short list of bigs expected to go early in the first round. 3D caught up with Williams to discuss his game, what to expect when he faces Joel Embiid, and of course, what it will be like to hear his name called on draft night.
Welcome back to Pre-Draft, here with Mark Williams. Mark, let's get right into it. Full circle, you go to Duke, obviously being around Coach K. I work with Grant Hill, they talk about the brotherhood. Talk about that experience as well, how it prepared you for the NBA.
Obviously the coaching staff's helped me, got me through this process. Always talking to them throughout this whole time. Even, just making the decision, they helped me make that decision. They were confident, and obviously they supported me the whole way. It's huge for that.
Take me through the process now, since you put your name in the draft, the combine, picking an agent, picking a management company, before you hear your name called. Take me through that process for you.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot. I think the combine was a really cool experience for me. I got to interview with teams, I got to sit down with teams. Obviously, we had our pro day, so, just to have, coaches, GMs, whoever was there to watch me just in a, more individualized setting was pretty cool for me.
If I'm a GM and I'm sitting at home, I'm looking at tape, what is one thing I should look for to make sure you're a lottery pick?
Playing out that pick and roll, running the floor, rim to rim.
When the big fella runs the floor, you gotta reward him.
Obviously, defensively, altering shots, blocking shots.
Another swat, a third block of the night by Williams.
Offensively, finishing around the rim, playing out that pick and roll.
Williams, so clever, getting himself available at the rim.
I feel like those things have immediate impact.
Speaking of immediate impact, now the NBA shoots a lot of threes. Is one of these things in your game you can do the pick and pop three, or you're a pick and roll guy?
Yeah, I've definitely been working on it. Shooting the ball off the pick and pops. Obviously, spacing out to the corner and stuff like that. It's definitely something I've been working on, and I feel comfortable taking that shot.
Another basket for Mark Williams. He understands the game.
As a professional, you have to manage your time while you're on the road. You're on a long road trip, watching film for the game. How are you going to prepare yourself for those type of moments?
Yeah, I'm playing, stuff like that. Obviously getting my rest, watching film, whoever we're playing, studying my opponent, stuff like that.
Speaking of studying your opponent, who is that one guy on the road where you're going to have to get a good night's rest because it's going to be tough trying to slow him down?
Probably Joel Embiid.
Process.
Yeah,
take me through that.
For sure, he's one of my favorite players to watch. Obviously super skilled on offense, so a guy like that, I'll definitely have to get my reps.
Oh, look at Williams. Snaps that in. Wow. That man has been the most impactful.
Draft night's right around the corner. Take me through the mindset of that journey you've gone through from Norfolk, Virginia to possibly hearing your name called.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's something I've been dreaming about since I was a little kid, so I think it'll really just hit me once my name's called, but until then, it's still a dream I'm living out.
Now, on draft night for me, I had my mom there. What part of your family you gonna have with you draft night?
Yeah, my mom, my dad, my sisters, yeah, they'll both be there. I just have the whole family with me.
And of course, draft night now, you gotta be drippy. Have you picked out the suit, the double breast, you got on shorts? What do you put?
No, I'm not in shorts.
Oh, great, say no shorts.
Yeah, no shorts. Definitely Yeah, actually, no, I'm not gonna let y'all know. It'll be a
It's a
surprise.
secret?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fly.
It's gonna be fly for sure. But yeah, y'all will see. June 23rd, y'all will see.
If you had a pick of what team should call your name, who would that team be?
I don't really have a pick. Obviously, whoever has the opportunity to draft me, and they do that, I'm gonna be really grateful for the opportunity, and I'll be really excited to do it.
Perfect. Hey, perfect. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
The Big Ten is living up to its name in this draft with some big-time talent in Purdue's Jaden Ivey, Iowa's Keegan Murray, and Wisconsin's Johnny Davis. That's coming up next. Welcome back to Get to Know You, brought to you by Getty Images. Over the past 5 NBA drafts, that guy right there, the Grizzlies' Jaren Jackson Jr., is the only Big Ten player selected in the top 5. That could change this year. Andy Katz spoke with Purdue's Jaden Ivey and Iowa's Keegan Murray to talk about what it will take for one of those guys to hear their name called early on draft night.
You are a coach's son. What did you learn from your mom?
I learned a lot, just from her being at college, being assistant coach for a couple of years, just seeing, the little things that she did, watching film with the players. I think that was a big thing. I watched her watch film with players a lot. And then, transitioning to the NBA, I just saw the work that she, did with the players, whether it was, just passing or, telling them this sort of detail on a move or, just critiquing a move. I got to see all that. And then it just, from there on, I just was able to, just understand the game a little bit better. Just from being around her presence and, just being in the gym with her just helped me become a better player as well. I feel like I saw, some talented, women play like Skylar Diggins, Enrique Gumbawale, Jewel Lloyd, all these players, playing, at the top of their games right now in the WNBA. And, I saw what it took, and I saw the hours that they put in and, they're so fundamentally sound, and it all is a testament, to their hard work. So just seeing that, I think, just, helped me become, a better person and, a better player on the court. Right after we lost to North Texas, I think my mindset just, switched and, I was ready to get back to work. And I think just the biggest thing was just putting the work in that summer and, ultimately, I got an opportunity to play for USA, and that helped me tremendously, with my confidence. You could just tell throughout the season I just had, different gear that I didn't have, my freshman year, and I was able to maintain it throughout my second year and, just play with that confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. And I've always had that confidence, and, my mom instilled it in me. So, just playing with that confidence, and, I just showed it my second year.
All right, so I see John Morant. What do you see in terms of yourself in a comparison of what you can become?
I see a lot of John Morant, obviously, person I know and, admire his game. I see a lot of, Dwayne Wade flashes. I definitely watch a lot of him, a lot of Russell Westbrook. And, I just try to show flashes of all those players. And obviously, I, watch the game, and, those are players that I admire and, watch highlights on, before games. And, I think, those are great comparisons. And, obviously got to live up to it, in the league. And, I just have to, just keep my head down and just work. Once I get to a team, just being a leader. And, from the moment you step on the court, just having that dog, that's the biggest thing. You can be talented, but, if you don't have a dog or, a certain sense about you that you want to win and, be on the court and, compete each and every day, that's what you have to have, to, win Rookie of the Year. You got to have the confidence as well. And, as far as what you get from confidence, you got to have the work ethic as well. So if I can do that, I'll put myself in a great position.
I'm not scared of anything. If I miss a shot, I'm gonna shoot the next one. If I miss the buzzer beater, whatever, it's on me. I'll take ownership of that. But for me, I just didn't want to back away from anything. My teams had ultimate confidence in me, and they had ultimate confidence in themselves. So I felt great if I was shooting the last shot, if Jordan was shooting the last shot, anyone really.
You weren't just a scorer. I mean, you were rebounding the basketball at a high clip. I mean, you were double-double machine. How much pride did you take in that aspect of the game?
Yeah, my freshman year, that was kind of my role, just to rebound, and I wanted to translate it to my sophomore season. So anytime the ball went up, I was trying to go to the glass, and I was trying to get the defense rebound so I could push it, start the fast break and stuff like that, and get offense rebounds, get extra possessions for our team. And I feel like that kind of got overshadowed by my offense a little bit. But for me, that was kind of something that I always took pride in. I'd rather have 13 and 13 than have 25 and 6. So for me, it was all about getting the rebounds, winning the rebound margin.
Scotty Barnes was the Rookie of the Year, but he wasn't the #1 draft pick. What do you think you would have to do to be the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to earn everything. Nothing in the NBA is given. So for me, it's just keeping my head down, taking it one day at a time, keep working as hard as I am, keep the same mentality that I've had through college, and I feel like I'll be in a good place. It's an 82-game season, so it's longer than a college season where it's 30-something games. So for me, it's keeping that mindset every single day, every single game. That this game, I can't take it for granted. So for me, it's just taking it one game at a time.
Current or former player, who do you think you compare to?
Yeah, for me, I've always thought I compared to John Collins a little bit. He's a little bit more athletic, gets above the rim a little bit more than I do, but I feel like we do a lot of the similar things, and that's kind of do it all for our team. If he needs to put the ball in the basket, he can put the ball in the basket. He can hit wide open threes, get offense rebounds, get defense rebounds, push the ball in transition. So what he does, I feel like I emulate a lot, and he's a guy that I've kind of looked at as inspiration. And what he's been doing for the Hawks and kind of carving out his role. But also a guy that I've been watching a lot has been Chris Middleton, just because he's similar size. I feel like we both have a similar mindset, kind of a humble mentality, and he's a guy that I kind of want to emulate my offensive game like, just because he's able to get to a shot, create space, and things like that. And that's something I kind of want to keep pursuing, keep getting myself better at. So they're both two guys that I've been trying to emulate my game.
It's interesting you choose Collins and Middleton because neither one of them were overly hyped coming out of high school, and even to some extent coming out of college. Now, obviously, you were a Player of the Year candidate, but still, what do you see in the way that they had to sort of earn it because they weren't, the hyped player, the All-American coming out of high school?
Yeah, they're both subtle in their approach. I feel like Chris Middleton, he came from the D League or the G League, the D League when he was there. But I mean, they both had to create their role. Nothing was given to them. They knew that they were underappreciated, and I felt like they both excelled in carving out the role. And Chris Middleton ended up winning a Finals MVP, or not Finals MVP, but Finals championship. So especially those two guys, I feel like just have been motivational factors for me.
Staying in the same conference, the Big Ten Player of the Year, Wisconsin's Johnny Davis, is another name that has been trending upwards on draft boards in recent weeks. 3D caught up with Davis at a recent workout to find out how his dream of playing in the NBA has grown and why he patterns his game after 2 All-Stars, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell.
Here with Johnny Davis. He said I can call him JD because I'm 3D.
That's fine.
Let's get right to it. Take me through this process. You put your name in the drafts from your freshman year to your sophomore year, just insane. Take me through that.
I'll start off with this year. I don't think a lot of people expected me or my team to do what we did. We kind of just shot up out of nowhere. I had a really great season. After talking with my agents and my parents, I decided to enter my name into the draft. I'm not going to speculate on where exactly I'm projected or anything like that, but I just know I got a really good chance of getting drafted.
Davis launches and buries it. No answer for the burgeoning star, Johnny Davis.
I'll say it for you. You're projected to be a lottery pick in the first round. Your name is steadily growing up there. Take me through that process, how it makes you feel, people recognizing what you do.
It makes me feel good about myself. It just shows that all the hard work I put in is finally paying off. But I don't need people to, know my name or anything like that right now. I feel like I still got a lot to prove.
As you're going through this process, has anything surprised you what general managers and teams are looking for in this process?
I mean, it's all kind of surprising just to be able to meet those guys and, know where the real work comes in as, behind closed doors.
I like that term, real work. When did you really realize that this could be a dream come true, this could be my livelihood?
I wouldn't say until after the season. I kept up with it a little bit during the season.
So when you're in high school, when you're in elementary school, you weren't dribbling the ball saying, I want to make it to the NBA one day.
Oh no, I definitely was. But, okay. Everybody has the dream of making it to the NBA and doing what they love to do. But I didn't realize I would be one of those guys here. But like I said, I've put in a lot of work to be here.
That young man has been huge so far for the Badgers.
The NBA loves the pick and roll. How do you see your game thriving in the pick and roll game?
I think I'll thrive a lot in the pick and roll, especially because I'm a guard. I have the ability to step outside. If somebody goes under the screen, I can knock down a shot. Or if I get a wide open lane to the rim, I'm going to go put it on somebody's head.
So we have hops like that.
Hops, I got a little bit of length to me, but, I can get up a little bit.
When you're watching the NBA, is there one guard or two guards you say, yeah, I like his game? Not saying I'm going to pattern my game after his, but I can see it fit.
Devin Booker, for sure. I like the way he shoots the ball, the way he scores a variety of different ways. And then if I'm going to pick somebody else, I'd say Donovan Mitchell, just because of how strong he is. He's well-balanced. He's a guy that can score at all three levels pretty easily.
There's always something when you put your name in the draft, the naysayers say you can't do. What is that one thing you're working on to make sure your game's tightened up when your name's called?
Shooting. This past season at Wisconsin, I felt like I didn't shoot the way I wanted to. A lot of the shots I got were a lot more contested later in the season because of the year I was having. So I'd definitely say outside shooting, being able to shoot off the dribble, and also just being a playmaker. A lot of people don't think I can come in and, make an impact right away.
Davis puts it down. What a shot.
In your dream of dreams, when we had this conversation a year from now, Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to try. I'm going to work for it.
First team All-Rookie?
I'm not going to try to, make any assumptions right now or predictions, but if I'm one of those higher-picked guys, I feel like I really got a good chance to, make one of those teams or win that award.
Draft night. What are you going to be wearing, and who's going to be there to support your draft night?
Mom, dad, twin brother, little brother and sister, who are twins as well.
That's right. You got two sets of twins
in the family. Yep. And then my agents will be there, both of them. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards a red suit just because of Wisconsin. A homegrown kid. But there's plenty of time for me to be able to make a final decision and switch it up a little bit.
Will you have major emotion when you hear your name called?
I'm not the type of guy to really get emotional, but on this certain occasion, on that night, probably, yeah.
JD with 3D. Love it. Love it, baby. Love it.
Cool.
He always says leave it, then he says love it there. Coming up, a Wildcat that hails from north of the border should hear his name called in the top 10 picks. We'll hear from Ben Mathurin next.
Getty Images. Make a connection. Move the world.
Congrats to NBA champion and all-star Andrew Wiggins. There's Dylan Brooks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, just a few of a growing list of Canadians that have found success in the NBA. Arizona's Ben Mathurin plans to join that group. Andy Katz caught up with Mathurin at the NBA Draft Combine to discuss what teams can expect from him when he enters the league.
I love adversity. That's one thing about me. I love just being away. The fans are booing you and they don't want you to win. So obviously, I'm all against adversity and winning tough moments.
You like to take the big shot.
Right.
Where does that come from?
I love doing things that people don't think I'm able to do. And I like to prove myself. A lot of people say I couldn't do stuff, so I came back for another year, so people I was able to do it.
What were they saying? What were they saying you couldn't do?
This I couldn't put the ball on the floor, and this I couldn't. I was just like a shooter, So I took it as a challenge, and trying to challenge myself, and came back for another year and proved the entire world wrong. I see myself mostly as Jaylen Brown. He's a little more of a two-way player. He's able to knock down threes and he's really physical and gets to the rim. I like Devin Booker as well. He's able to shoot off the dribble, shoot, catch, and shoot off the movement. So them two, with Devin Booker's offense and Jaylen Brown's defense, I feel like it's a pretty big comparison for me.
What gives you the biggest thrill on the court?
Not a lot of people where I'm from are able to play where I am right now. I just take advantage of the situation. You know, I'm blessed to be going to court and feel like it was my last time many times. So,
what does it mean to you to do what you're doing based on where you come from?
It means everything, to be honest. You know, like I said, we don't have a lot of people from Montreal, North, especially where I'm from, who's made it to the NBA. As me and becoming probably the 4th current NBA player right now from Montreal North, it's pretty big. You know, we have a lot of kids back home who, I mean, it's pretty rough. You know, they're going to school or basketball practice. They don't know if they're gonna have a meal to come home to. So it's all about motivating the kids back home for me and making everybody believe that everything's possible, honestly.
But Canada's having a bit of a renaissance.
Right.
What is it about Canada and basketball?
I feel like as we have players in the NBA right now, it's just putting Canada on the map, you know. We have great players from Toronto and Montreal, and what they're doing currently in the NBA is really, focusing on what's the youth and the generations that's coming up to the NBA.
Oh, the champ is here. Ochai Agbaji brought home all kinds of hardware last year at Kansas, including that national championship. He's next on Get to Know, brought to you by Getty Images.
For many NBA hopefuls, their final destinations are undetermined. Where will they go and when? Our crew is ready to project potential landing spots. Don't miss the mock draft presented by Getty Images tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on.
Welcome back to Get to Know You, brought to you by Getty Images. Ochai Agbaji's final season at Kansas could not have been scripted any better. Big 12 Player of the Year, Final Four Most Outstanding Player, and of course, that national championship. Andy Katz caught up with Agbaji at the NBA Draft Combine to look back at his stellar college career.
Comparison. Who do you see yourself in some form looking like in the NBA?
Great example would be Desmond Bane. I played against him 2 years when I was a freshman and sophomore. Kind of have similar games, athletic, bigger type wing that can defend and knock down shots. So I kind of, watch his game and see my game in his game too.
What's a fair criticism, though, right now, of what you still need to do?
I'd say decision making, not as far as like anything drastically changing with decision making or my handle, my dribble, but making those plays off the dribble, attacking, finishing out the rim, I think is another thing that my game has another level to, and I think obviously shooting the ball too. You can never shoot it good enough, so just everything in my game, raising those aspects.
I don't think you can mimic being a champion, learning how to win, and playing in unbelievable environments at Fog Allen in front of 70,000 people in New Orleans. What did that do for you to prepare you for all that attention that'll come with playing in the NBA?
Yeah, at Kansas it is really different. We're playing in front of packed fans every single night, whether it's a lesser opponent or an opponent that's a top ranked opponent, but we're always getting a sold out crowd. You have that pressure on you, and you play with that pressure if it's on the road, or if it's at home, or if it's in the Final Four, and that just teaches you a lot about you kind of take all that in, take all that adrenaline in, and then once the ball tips, it's just basketball at the end of the day. So that's what I've learned. Oh, toughest matchup to guard? Kevin Durant. He's the toughest. There's a lot of people that I can name, but right off the top of my head, I'm thinking Kevin Durant because, yeah, bro's almost 7 foot doing between the legs, shooting over people. So like that's really a hard guard. Obviously LeBron James, the all-stars of the league, and the guys that are growing into those all-stars are all hard guards.
How do you make sure there's no awe moment, there's no fanboy, that you're like present? Yeah. That you don't get overwhelmed by the moment?
I think really that'll come in with, being on an NBA team, being on your own NBA team, and having those, like, you'll have celebrities and all-stars on your team. And I feel like you'll just get used to that. And then once you go on the road, it's just, like I said, it's just basketball. Obviously, you're playing at the highest level against the guys that you've been watching, playing video games. whatever against them. But no, it's gonna just be, you know, a surreal moment, you know, playing against them. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Coming up, the G League Ignite is looking to have another top pick in the NBA draft. We'll hear from Dyson Daniels next.
In high school. As a kid, I wanted to be a point guard. As I got older, I realized that my forte was shooting the basketball. Coming out of college, they called me Great Scott. And then my rookie year in Orlando, I made 3 threes in a row with Paul Porter, who was a PA announcer in Orlando. He yells out, "Great!" Then he stops. He goes, 3 D. Look over, I go, I like that. Here I am now, 3D on NBA TV.
Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga are 2 prime examples of developing successful NBA players via the G League Ignite team. Andy Katz sat down with one of the Ignite's top players from last season, Dyson Daniels, to discuss why he chose the G League route to help get to that next level.
For me, the ultimate goal was the NBA, so I was going to take the next step in my progress to, you know, get there. And with the G League, you know, playing against you know, NBA caliber players, you know, NBA rules, NBA length for everything about it was like, you know, set in place to help us get there. And you know, I'm really happy with my decision in taking the G League route.
Australians sometimes have gone the college route or just gone from Australia to the NBA. Why did you think you needed that step?
I mean, I could have gone to Australia if I wanted, but I felt like the G League was the best option. You know, like I said, it had everything to do with the NBA involved in it, and it was there to help us get to our dream of the NBA. And you know, sometimes you can go to Australia, and you know, the coaches are paid to win there. So you know, sometimes they sit the players on the young guys on the bench or whatever it may be. But with the G League, you know, we had great coaching staff, great players, veterans there to help us as well, and the development was everything I wanted.
Obviously, you're playing against professionals, men. How do you think that helps speed up your maturation in this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going up against grown men, it's always going to make you better because, you know, there's veterans playing in the G League that I played against, and you know, they've been around the game a while. They know how to play the game, they know how to be physical, and just, you know, going up against that and having to use my body, having to learn how to, you know, play differently a little bit and just deal with the physicality and stuff like that. It was different for me, but I guess in the end, you know, it was a benefit because, you know, now going up against these guys who are coming out of college, you know, I'm able to, you know, use some of my skills that I've had playing against professionals.
All right, so for those that have not seen you, and probably a lot of the mainstream fans have not, how would you describe your game?
So first and foremost, I'm a defender, so, you know, I'm gonna go out there and be a dog on the defensive end, you know, lock up my guy, you know, get steals, you know, create offense out of my defense. So that's my main skill, but then, you know, I'm a big guard, you know, 6'6", play the point guard, you know, able to come off screens, play make, you know, shooting, you know, has come a long way. I'm a confident shooter now, and, you know, just able to, you know, get in the lane and, you know, play make for my teammates. So, you know, defender is my main strength, but, you know, my offensive game's come a long way.
Not a lot of players say that. You know, that they want to think about defense first, because that doesn't get the headlines. Why is that?
I mean, I take a lot of pride in my defense. You know, I've always been a defender. I've always been good at it. You know, I move my feet well, use my length and hands well. So, I mean, I've always been good at it. And, you know, defense wins games. And a lot of teams these days, you know, always have two, 3 defenders on the floor at all times. So, I mean, for me, you know, it's always been, you know, why I've always been a defender. I've always, you know, wanted to play defense. Always, you know, played hard on that end. And, you know, for me, that's just, you know, what I do.
Who have you looked at as a bit of a mentor or mentors in this process?
Yeah, my mentor's been Matthew Dellavedova. You know, just the way he earned his spot in the NBA. You know, wasn't the most athletic guy, wasn't my skill, but he just, you know, hard work and defense was his thing. So, you know, grit, grind, you know, get his head in there, stick his head in, you know, help his team win that way, you know, diving on loose balls, hustle plays, that sort of stuff. So, I mean, he's been a great mentor for me, but, you know, players I look at is like, you know, Lonzo Ball, you know, Mikal Bridges, Matisse Thybulle, you know, the guys who are, you know, bigger guards that, you know, play defense on everyone, play defense every possession. So those are the guys that I take a lot of my game from.
How ready are you for this?
I'm very ready. I'm ready to go.
And we hope that every single prospect is ready on draft night. Best of wishes. Watching Get to Know, brought to you by Getty Images. I'm Chris Miles. Enjoy the 2022 NBA Draft. We're on the cusp of the 2022 NBA Draft, where dreams become reality. Welcome to our NBA Mock Draft presented by Getty Images. I'm your host, Chris Miles. That's the All-Star, Dr. Steve Smith, the college basketball legendary guru, Andy Katz, and Bleacher Report lead NBA scout, Jonathan Wasserman. Here's how today's show will work. Each of our experts will make a pick as if they're the GMs of some of your favorite teams, and we'll open the discussion after each pick on why each player was selected. Before we get into that, though, let's go over the way the top of this draft is viewed. There are two trains of thought. The prevailing concept is that the top three players will go in some order: Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, who are all worthy of the first overall pick. Then there's the concept that Jaden Ivey is viewed in that group as well, that the draft starts with the Kings, who have the fourth pick and are taking calls on trades. So, Andy, where are you on how the top of this draft is supposed to play out? And I know you interviewed Banchero, and it's Banchero, not Banchero. I got it wrong the first time.
So here's the deal. I think even though we've got a tier one of the top three, I think there's no question with this draft that you could definitely see a top 5, maybe even 6, and I'm including Jaden Ivey in that, Keegan Murray, and maybe Benedict Mathurin in terms of players who could definitely be potential all-stars, rookie of the year. It's a deeper draft. It's players that certainly are going to have an impact, I think, sooner than later. Even though we're sort of tiering it with the top 3 and below, I think you could expand it.
That's a great point, because we look at last year, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey belong in that conversation at the top of the draft. Where are you on this train of thought?
Again, I think it's top heavy. There's this perceived idea that there is a top 3 with the freshman bigs. Ivy has been higher than Holmgren on some boards of teams I've talked to. He's got a lot of star potential with his explosiveness. Keegan Murray viewed as a safe pick, and then you move down a couple wild cards. You didn't mention Shaedon Sharpe, who hasn't played in a year and a half. Teams don't know so much about him in terms of how he reads the game, but in terms of explosiveness and shot making, that combination translates to star power. It'll be interesting to see how his career plays out, particularly over the next couple years.
Time to get into our mock draft. The guy we haven't heard from yet, Smitty to my left. You're representing the Orlando Magic as if you are John Hammond with that first pick. Who you're selecting and why?
Well, I'm on the clock, right? Don't you got to let me give me some time?
Time's run out. Time to make the pick, Smitty.
We ate up your time.
The first pick for me is Jabari Smith. The reason why is I think he's one of those guys. He can flat out shoot the basketball. I got a chance to see him work out and been knowing him since he was a young fella here in the Atlanta area. If you watch his form, his technique, everything about him, and then what I love about him, he's ready, NBA ready to shoot the basketball from deep. In his workout, he went 45 from 50 from 3. Obviously, there's nobody contesting him, and that's not a basketball game. That's just a workout, but that is very impressive. And then on the defensive end, I think he can guard 1 through 4 and face up fours. Not know if he's ready now to bang, but as he gets older, and I also take in consideration, he just turned 19, May 13th.
You said something very interesting about his three-point shot, because his percentage from three-point range is essentially identical to his percentage from two-point range. Why did he struggle inside of the arc, shooting 43% in college?
Well, I think in that system, you had Walker Kessler. There was not a lot of room, making no excuses, but also he was young. And I think when you look at a guy like Jabari Smith, he will figure it out. The one thing I love, guys, is he works. Unbelievable worker. Everybody I talked to said this is a kid that works his butt off. Got up at 5 a.m. in the morning. His dad talked about him. He didn't push him. He wanted to work. And whenever you want to work that hard and you have those mechanics, you can get better. And he's 6'10", and I think he'll end up being around 6'11", 7 feet.
And I think this is a great example of taking the best player, maybe the safest player. Whether or not you think he fits the most in Orlando, I think he has the highest value among the top 3. And probably, you could argue, has the least constructive criticisms that are following him. As you said, high basketball IQ, helped Auburn become #1 for the first time in its history. A tough matchup, does a little bit of everything. And when I talked to him, I think he said this to you as well, Smitty, he loves being a defender. And so he knows that he can help contribute on that side of the court.
You know, Katz, you're now on the clock, and you are Sam Presti, and over the next 5 years, I believe you have 36 picks.
Yes.
So, look, second pick in the draft, who are you rolling with?
So, at one point, certainly everyone thought that Chet Holmgren would be the #1 draft pick. We all feel that he has been passed by Jabari Smith, but going #2 is not so bad at all. So, I have Oklahoma City taking Chet Holmgren. He is the unicorn. He is like something we have not seen not just in college basketball, but to some degree the NBA. And I will say this, guys, he's incredibly confident. He's thin, yes, but when I've talked to him and he's become more out of his shell throughout the course of the year, he doesn't mind taking the contact. You know, he doesn't like when people say, oh, you're not strong, you know, and because of his frame. It takes something to knock him down on his tail. Now, Memphis did a little bit of that in that NCAA tournament game, but he gets right back up. He's got a toughness about him that I don't think necessarily was known earlier in the season, and he is not afraid to show it. He's incredibly confident.
Despite that toughness, there are not a lot of guys that thin at his size. In fact, there's only one other 6'11" player in the NBA that's under 200 pounds, and it's Alexei Pokusevsky, who also plays for Oklahoma City. So the two of them together is lacking toughness down low. On the other hand, I think we talk about how skinny he is a lot. Being skinny is not going to stop him from grab and go in transition. It's not going to stop him from shooting threes. It's not going to stop him from finishing above the rim. His passing IQ, it's not going to affect that. And I think he's going to block shots with his wingspan and his IQ. So I think it might hold him back a little bit inside the arc in terms of creating separation, maybe defensively holding his own in the post. But I think the versatility he brings to the table is still going to offset the fact that he is a little bit skinny.
Smitty, he said something very interesting in terms of what are the positives, his strengths, and sticking to it. And when I think of players that we heard a lot about their inability to be strong and lift weights and how tall they are and too weak, Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram coming into the draft. Two perimeter players. So it's Chet Holmgren, a guy that's going to play in the interior, or is he going to be a perimeter player in the NBA?
Well, I think he'll be both. I think if he was in my era, you're definitely worried about his size. But Andy said it best. Watching him, the first thing you do is you look at it and see his strength level. I never saw him get pushed around. And yes, he does have to get stronger. But he's been on the big stage for a long time, since high school. And I've saw him manage himself well. I just worry about a team using him the wrong way. You got to find a way to use him the right way. He will get stronger. It doesn't matter about the weight, but I think for him is, I talked to him, you know, in game one of Golden State, he was out there. I said, how you feel about getting bumped around? He said, I like contact. So anybody said I like contact, and I didn't think he was trying to just feed me something. Watched him, been following him. I think he'll be okay. And the new NBA, everybody's around the perimeter anyway.
The other thing that's unique to him is his ball handling. Most traditional bigs of his size or that thin, you think, okay, he has to stay inside, he's limited. No, he literally can get his own rebound, and a couple dribbles later, he can flush it at the other end. So he's got guard-like skills in clearly a center's body.
So Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren off the board, Houston Rockets. It seems like everyone says, okay, there's three guys at the top of this draft. Is there any way you're not taking Paolo Banchero?
There's no way. In fact, I think Paolo Banchero is the best prospect in the draft.
Whoa.
Whoa, okay.
And I think he's going to a great spot in Houston. He's going to get featured touches. He's not going to have to stand around the arc. He's going to have an opportunity to play off the dribble. His last 11 games, he averaged over 4 assists per game. He offers playmaking that Chet and Jabari don't. Just because he's a mid-range guy, I love the fact that he's great in the mid-range. Eventually, he can extend a shot out to the arc, but between the three-level scoring, the playmaking, the toughness inside, the rebounding, the finishing, 6'10", 250, I think he's got to get better in terms of defensive effort, but in terms of defensive ability, when he wants to lock in, he can slide his feet, he can bang down low. I think he's the most complete player in the draft, and I think he'll be the best player in the draft when we look back.
John, the question I have, I totally agree with you. I think he's obviously the guy who's most ready. So if you had the #1 pick, I took Jabari, would you take Paolo?
I would.
Okay.
I like him getting touches in Orlando. Orlando needs guys who can get their own basket. And one of the things I like about him, and Chet and Jabari kind of struggle with, is isolation, 10 seconds left on the clock. I'd rather have Paolo with the ball in his hands than Chet, who doesn't create well, and Jabari, who really settles for a lot of tough jumpers.
This is all offense.
Right.
Smitty, Andy Katz, when he talked to him, the thing that I thought stood out the most was defensively. So did he address, I guess the deficiencies compared to Jabari and Chet on defense?
Yeah, I mean, he said that is his Achilles heel. He needs to get better defensively. What's interesting, we all love to play the comparison game. And I'm not just saying this because they both went to Duke, but I see some of it, and he sees some of himself in Jason Tatum. And I'm curious if you see some of those similarities as well between Banchero and Tatum.
Well, I think the ball handling is not there, but I do understand that he's a wing that can handle it, but not at the Jason Tatum level. I don't know if he shoots it well, but I do think you can move him around all over the court. And the only reason I didn't want to take him one, not because of talent. I totally agree with you. I just think they're so point guard heavy in Orlando, he won't have the ball in his hand. And that's why I think Jabari Smith is a better touch. But he has a chance. He's NBA ready size-wise, everything. 6'10", 250. And when I watched him play against Michigan State, Malik Hall is no small guy. He had him looking small, so he is NBA ready. He can be a guy that can move veterans out of the way right now.
I'm sorry, remind us how tall you are again, Smitty.
I'm about 6. I used to be 6'8". I'm about 6'7" now.
Just making the point that when Smitty says that a prospect is tall, coming from your point of view, then they really do have great NBA size.
Well, I think not only is he tall, but he plays well inside. And then I think he also has the ability to play outside. But he doesn't look uncomfortable to me with that size, the way he moves around the court. He is a special talent. This is going to be interesting. Going down to Houston, if that happens under our Mark pick, how will they feature him with all the other guys they have?
You know, the other thing I just want to sort of circle back with all these top 3 players is I thought each one of them this past season was in a high-pressured situation and handled it well. For Jabari Smith, a lot of pressure to get Auburn to be a #1 team. He handled it. He was a great leader. Chet Holmgren, tons of pressure was on him. Gonzaga was #1 team in the country for a long time. And with Banchero, Coach K's last team at Duke, all those arrows thrown at Duke, and he was there. I thought at times maybe they didn't give him the basketball when he needed it most late in the game. But still, he handled it. And I thought that's something, the maturity from all 3 of these guys. I think they're ready to handle the adversity and the pressure of being in the top 3.
So anyone watching this show right now, they go, oh, the top 3 picks as we've imagined they would play out. Coming up next, we move on from the top 3 to picks 4, 5, and 6, where the draft truly begins here on the NBA Mock Draft presented by Getty Images. The top picks are in. The Kings, Pistons, Pacers are up. There's some intriguing names here. Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, Shaedon Sharpe, Ben Mathurin, Dyson Daniels, likely in the mix. Smitty, the Kings rumored to be shopping this 4th pick with several teams. Now, for this show, we're assuming that they keep the pick. They've been drafting guards for years. Are they going to continue that trend?
They are. And Keegan Murray is a guy that I was looked at that might be a better fit, but I think talent-wise, watching Jaden Ivey over the years in the Big Ten, he has a motor like Westbrook and Ja Morant. He is athletic. He comes at you. What I love about him is he is energetic. He's athletic, but I also like his mentality. He wants to go at everybody, and I think that's the one thing I love him. He didn't take a playoff. Everybody worries about his jump shot. I don't as much, Andy and Jonathan, just because his mechanics was there. When you have mechanics, and I think you come from that type of bloodline, he will get better. He's only 20 years old. He's got perfect size. And I know they keep drafting guards, but I just don't think you can pass up from a guy like this, Jaden Ivey, who could possibly be the Rookie of the Year.
First of all, he's a gamer. Loves to be in the position to take that big shot. I did a lot of those games this past season. As you mentioned, it's in his blood. Mother's the head coach at Notre Dame. He's around women's basketball throughout the course of his childhood, appreciates the fundamentals and the hard work. This will be interesting, though, because didn't work out for Sacramento. So do they take him to move him? Do they take him regardless? Because I do think he's the next best talent. This is where it really gets interesting. You talk about the draft starting at 4. We'll see. If they take him, does he stay there? But I love Jaden Ivey in this position regardless of who's picking.
You have to take him. I mean, I don't care about fit, how many guards. He's easily the best prospect on the board. You figure it out later. You can make trades. I mean, I also think he's versatile enough to play some 2 and 3. He reminds me more of Victor Oladipo than he does of Ja Morant. I think he's more of a combo or somebody you could just put into your lineup and just, let him tap into his explosiveness from the wings in transition. Forget about positions. Forget about fit. Just take the best prospect. The Kings are too far away to be worrying about fit.
And the name he brings up himself. He brings up Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Every comp I've heard is an all-star at minimum for Jaden Ivey. It's Dwayne Wade, Ja Morant, Russell Westbrook, and Victor Oladipo, who was also second pick in the draft. Katz, I watched your interview with him, and I thought, hold on. He's been around Ja Morant, going to practices. He understands what it takes, how much of an influence, because his mom was an assistant coach
with
for
Memphis.
the Grizzlies for a while.
Yeah, so look, he's been around a lot of talented players, regardless whether it's women's basketball, men's basketball. He's got such a great appreciation for the game, high IQ, the work ethic, and I don't think you couldn't put a price on that. I have not heard a negative word about him and covering him the last couple of years. You know, his role changed dramatically over from one year to the next at Purdue. And what really changed for him was last summer. He played for the USA U19 FIBA team in Latvia that won gold. He did not get MVP. Chet Holmgren got MVP, but Jamie Dixon, the head coach, told me he was our best player. And he was okay with maybe not getting that hard work because he got the gold medal, but he has grabbed that leadership role at Purdue, and I think he'll be a winner in the NBA.
Moving on to our next pick, 5th in the draft. Let's point out that Troy Weaver has been doing an excellent job as GM there for the Detroit Pistons. You are now Troy Weaver, and you said something before the show. You said, okay, 4th and 5th pick, whoever goes 4th, the other guy's going 5th. So I'm pretty sure I know you're taking 5th.
Yeah, I really believe this. I think it's going to be Keegan Murray from Iowa. By the way, a year ago, they drafted the best player at Iowa in the 2nd round in getting Luka Garza. The Pistons did in the 2nd round. So this time they get a lottery pick in Keegan Murray, who had an absolutely sensational sophomore season at Iowa. He was an apprentice to Luka Garza the year before, more of a rebounder. This time he took his scoring to another level. His twin brother Chris is coming back to Iowa. He's going to be a pretty good player for the Hawkeyes next season. But Keegan, he did, look at the numbers. He did a little of everything. 23 a game. There were some games where he was rebounding close to that and was a leader, led Iowa to the Big Ten tournament title game, and they won it over Purdue. So a sensational season for Iowa. A little disappointing loss to Richmond in the 1st round. But other than that, I think everything about Keegan Murray is on the up.
So there are a couple of things that I don't see on this graphic. There's a lot of great information. But, Smitty, there's always the intangibles. This is for both of you guys. 62% from 2-point range, 40% from 3-point range. But this is a guy that had one Division I offer, right? Went to prep school, stayed with it, and then kept improving. It is a guy that has developed in college and should be ready day one to play in the league.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's extremely hard, like Andy said. He had to play behind Luka Garza as far as being the #1 option, and then the next year turn it on, and he took that role, and he flourished with it. One thing I like about him, out of all the other picks we've talked about so far, he still has a whole bunch of room to improve, in my opinion. I think he's going to get better defensively. I think he's going to get stronger. I think he's going to be somewhat like an Al Horford type that can flat out still shoot the basketball right now, a little bit more developed jump shot than Al had when he first entered the NBA.
I love that comp. Horford, that's the type of guy, maybe not your lead scorer, your #1 option, but a guy who fits in at the 3-4 spot. I think we're into a part of the draft right now at number 5 where the certainty starts to drop off, a little bit more wild cards. There's a lot of certainty with Keegan Murray. We know the off-ball stuff is going to translate. He runs the floor really hard. He's got great scoring instincts, knows when to cut, great hands around the basket. I'm buying the spot-up shooting that he added this year. I'm not sold on the self-creation in the half court. He plays a little bit high up, but I don't think it matters. I think you could plug him into any spot, and he's going to find a way to be productive.
Just to add on to your point, he's got great humility. With his twin brother, they were a package deal, but they didn't have a lot of offers. Obviously, you mentioned that he only had the one. Comes from a smaller town in Iowa, appreciates what he has received to this point because he earned it. So he doesn't come in with the huge entourage and the whole thing where he was expected to do this. And I think that humility will help him transition into the NBA.
He's going to my Detroit Pistons, so he has to be good, Andy. So
I think he will be.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on him.
There you go. Keegan Murray to the Detroit Pistons at 5, so we move to the Pacers at 6. You're up.
The Pacers are taking Dyson Daniels. Now, that might not be a popular pick based on fit, but teams don't always draft based on fit. You got to find the best player available. And to me, it's Dyson Daniels. I think he's one of the most unique prospects in the draft. And like I said, we start to lose certainty in this area. I'm certain that Daniels is going to find a way to make an impact in his own way. A tremendous defender. He measured around 6'8" in shoes at the Combine. He guards positions 1 through 4. But with the G League, he played point guard. And he played some off-ball stuff. He's a playmaker. He's a low-maintenance guy. He just finds ways to make an impact. He's 19 years old. All you hear about is how mature he is during these interviews. I think if you're the Pacers, obviously there's a little bit of a logjam with Brogdon, with Halliburton.